then you can take any one of your choice. Right. So this is the case study I have already given earlier, and you have done some homework on that as well. So this
Yeah.
is about the policy center architecture, because moving towards Guidewire policy center due to the on-premise legacy policy management system organization is using for a very long time. So they are facing some problems. The problems were mentioned because of the outdated legacy processing system that they were using, which is involved more of manual intervention is been involved here. Okay, so that they wants to streamline the operations. For that reason, they are moving to Guidewire Policy Center, Guidewire Cloud version, because we have two versions we available. One is on-premise, second is Guidewire Cloud. Advantage on moving towards Guidewire Cloud is to reduce the operational investment, operational cost expenses, and infrastructural challenges as well for any insurance company. Right, that was the reason behind. But when there are three different when there is any migration processes taken place, generally you will be finding three different roles you will be having, three different players I can see as part of the migration. I'm explaining from the scratch. Okay. So when we are moving towards Guidewire side, Guidewire migration of policy center, or it can be of any product. There are three major players you will see in the segment. In that particular segment, you will see three people. One is insurer nothing but an insurance company. That is point number one, because these are the people who are buying the software from Guidewire. Okay. The second player will be Guidewire. Point number two. Point number three, implementation partners. Implementation partners, nothing but people, IT company, I can say that, because any IT company who do the implementation on behalf of the customer. Their customer can be an insurance company. So these are the three different players you see. One is about the insurance company, Guidewire, which is a product by itself. The third is about implementation team or implementation partner company. So who will be doing configurations, integrations for their customer needs, because the product is existed. Guideware is a product which is existed, and we want to make some necessary configurational changes and integrations required to be taken place. If you are taking a policy center as an example, internally it must be integrated with the claim center, billing center, all that. That is anyway that is required. Apart from that, externally it must be integrated with some third-party systems to access the, let's say we want to access the vehicle details, right? Any person wants to have any auto insurance and all, we wants to access the vehicle details. So you may be required that. So vehicle information has to be accessed, or driver information need to be accessed, or else we may require to access the information. We may require to send the information to the underwriting team, a third party underwriting company, or it can be a third party rating company. It can be of anything. So integration even required. So for that integration elements, what are the integration elements? Either we may be working on web services, or it can be message queues or batch processings. So that integration part, prior to that configuration, everything will be done by the claim implementation teams or implementation partnering company. So these are the three different players that we see here. Now, coming back to the solution is to migrate Guidewire Policy Center on cloud version. This is what the requirement is. Now, this architecture majorly implementing an automated API first underwriting engine integrating with third-party hazard tools. This is what generally the implementation perspective is. This is what we call it as implementation goal, I can say. Okay, implementation perspective. Implementation perspective. This is what the implementation perspective. The architecture that they are or that we are about to develop should be an automated one. Point number one. Second, it should be an API first underwriting engine where it must be integrated with some third party rating engine so that risk assessment will be done by the systems as it is with any third party hazard tools. Hazard tools means any, for example, any property insurance that is there. The property, some properties can be belongs to some high geographical zone where you will be affecting more of natural calamities or any kind of near to the landslides, something of that kind. So this can be any third-party hazardous tools and everything for that, right? So these are the major areas. So automated architecture implementation of automation where we want to have a API first underwriting engine, which must be integrated with third-party hazard tools. That is first element. Second element, they want to have real-time credit scoring. This is required because depends on the credit score person having, okay? Because when someone has applied for any insurance, okay, application, applied for insurance, uh, we check their credit score as well. Credit score. So that how disciplined they are, okay? So how disciplined they are. We want to see the credit score of the person. So even for even for loans and all everything, I hope you will be knowing, right? So even credit score, all these things are important.
Yeah.
It's needed. In the same manner, here as well. Here as well, they want to see the credit score of the person, of an individual or a company, so that they'll see the discipline, how the track record of the repayments that they have made, all that. Next, they need to have the connect with predictive analytical tools to transform the operational efficiency. Because to enhance the operational efficiency, they want to integrate with uh, any other analytical tools. Either it can be for dashboard or something like, right? So you may be for dashboards and all, maybe for data visualization, anyone can be knowing, like we know, like we can integrate with Tableau, Power BI, or something of that. And there
Yep.
can be an analytic tools also because even Guidewire we have analytical tools, we have analytical software as separate. So, or it can be any other external predictive analytical tools as well, so that the operational efficiency has to be managed. So, the core idea behind transforming the solutions to the Guidewire point of view, wherein by considering all these things, this is what the core idea behind going towards Guidewire Policy Center on cloud version. That was the first thing. Next, for this, being a solution architect, we should be knowing about the what should be the key business value drivers and targets. And these are the things. Anyway, this you have already have undergone, and you have done some something like you have done some research and you have done some you have given some answers for that as well, right? So that anyway that you are aware of. This is all we have done. Next about the legacy to target. That is, this is what we call it as gap analysis usually. This one generally we call it as gap analysis. In simple terms, we call it as gap analysis, where gap is we are identifying between as is and to be. Understood? Right. So wherein we are doing gap analysis between as is and to be. That is what we call it as as is and to be. It's called gap analysis. Means study over the gap analysis. Generally, this will be done by the analyst teams. They'll be doing as a solution architect role that we don't get into that. Business analyst teams has to do that. Analyst team has to do it, and they have to identify what was the legacy state, what is the target state that we wants to be achieved in. So they'll be deciding on that. This is all about the current and as well as target architecture matrix, all that. This is the second thing. Gap analysis they will be doing. Next about this is where generally the end-to-end solution flow is. Means When you want to be implementing Guideware as an architecture, as an application that we are developing, what could be the phases like, right? So there can be a phase where we call it as ingestion phase. Generally, in application development, we have a phases called analysis, planning and design, implementation, testing, deployment, delivery, right? So these are the phases that you can see in any application development. More or less like end solution of the flow can also be in the same manner, where we have an ingestion as well as account creation phase. This is the first one. This is first phase one. At the same time, phase two, product selection, and at the same time, we need to design the advanced product design validations, because generally in policy center we have a tool called product designer. So the product designer advantage is to design the product. Means, let's say customer is coming up with an insurance company, insurer wants to come up with a new insurance product. They want to they want to cater to specific target audience and target customers. They want to come up with a new product. So generally the product description, what kind of product, etc., everything will be designed based on the market research that we know that. But that must be designed. So the product has to be designed. So product is to be designed. Maybe they want to market this product only in the particular states by combining auto and commercial property or something of that kind. They got something in their mind as a business outcome. So they have decided to do it. This is all usually happens through product designer, user product designer, that can be done. So product selection and product designer validation, of course, technical team, development team will be looking after all that. So this is the second phase. The third about the integration elements where how are we integrating and what kind of integration plugins that we are using, all that. So we may be using RESTful API, Swagger API, and all. Right? So these were the few things that we'll be using, because that can be two things. One is it can be a synchronous process, or it can be an asynchronous process of architecture pattern that we must be familiar with. This is the phase three. The third about the core rating logic engine, which is to be executed, because this is a cloud one, okay? Because earlier it was on-premise, now we are moving towards cloud, because if there is any quotation that is to be provided for a customer, there must be some logic that is to be implemented. So for that, core rating logic engine will be that execution, etc., has to be performed. That is phase number 4, okay? Core rating logic engine execution will be done. Next, underwriting authority and evaluation rules with segmentations. This is next one, which is what are the underwriting rules we have, right? So for any kind of risk assessment, for example, uh, driver details was mentioned, where driver met with some accident or any traffic violations. That has to be converted into high risk driver, and it has to send to the underwriting team for risk assessment. These kind of things will be part of underwriting evaluation rules, all that. Next, binding, provided when there is any rule is identified, when the rule is when there is any kind of quotation as accepted by the customer. So we bind the policy based on the payment customer has paid. Automatically, that will be integrated to the billing center, of course. So once the payment has made, document will be shared to the customer. Policy document I'm referring to. This is all about the document generations, etc. Everything will be part of it. So these are the major areas. These are the major areas where this has to be visualized being a solution architect. That is our major rule behind. So for all these things, back of it, what is that something that we have to be considered is that what should be the non-functional requirements. So we have to start working on the project by considering and understanding the non-functional requirements first. So what could be the non-functional requirements that has to be decided? So based on the non-functional requirements, what we have decided, from there onwards, we have to start working on the high-level design, low-level design, all that. Understood? You have got it. You are clear now.
Yep.
So this is what the first case study that I have already given you, so that you can take your time and this week and you can just decide any one of you. This is one. And second, this is about the architecture document, which is relating to banking related kind. Banking related kind, where traditional bank already using a payment gateway to do some cross-border payments from one country to another country, all that. But they wants to modernize it. Right? They want to modernize it. They wants to develop a high-performance payment gateway so that their P2P transfers and merchant payments and all everything, they want to make it very more secure, faster and speed and accurate. So that is the reason behind customer wants some kind of neo banking initiative or neo banking project they want to develop by replacing their old legacy batch based system. Okay, so that's what their requirement. This is the business case and requirements is to means I want you to understand the scenario. That's it. Okay, scenario. For this scenario, what must be the functional and non-functional requirements? Of course, because um, functional and non-functional requirements we don't prepare, so that I'm not getting into the business needs, scope, all that, because that part anyway that I told you earlier when I discussed with you, that points I already mentioned you. So that anyway, the background we have to go with. But these are the functional and non-functional requirements based on the business situation customer has, because they want to have a real-time fund transfer between all the internal accounts. That is one thing, and they must be having some multi-factor authentication for high value transactions, not high volume transactions. High volume transactions can be number, okay. High value transactions can be something larger transactions, right? So we required some, because this is for more security, you require some multi-factor authentication, etc. This can be one more functional requirement, because they want to improve the performance of the payment gateway for handling their merchant payments and all. Merchant payments can be at the higher level in terms of the values concerned. So they want to have that high value transactions, multi-factor authentication is required. That is point number two. Point number three, fraud detection scoring before transaction approval, because there can be some fraudulent payments. This part also last week I covered you, if you remember that. Fraud detection can be taken place, okay? Or else some recently the accounts which are not active, right? So recently got active and now transactions were happening faster. This is all about to identify the fraud detection scoring, all that. So this is the third one. Next, transaction history with all the switch and filter capabilities. These are the functional requirements. Analyst team will be decided, not as a architect team. But from an architect perspective, we should be understanding about the latency, consistency, scalability, all that. These are the major things that has to be identified. Non-functional requirements. Non-functional requirements, the first one about the latency, end-to-end processing must be performed. That is required. So latency that we have to consider. Second, about the consistency of the financial transactions as well as the kind of ledger entries that we are, because both internal and as well as external auditing will happen. You know that. So for that, maintaining all the financial ledger entries, etc., consistency is important. That is point number two. Point number three, scalability, right? So handling transactions somewhere around 5,000 transactions per second. So the system should be scalable and capable enough to handle high volume transactions, high value transactions also, and high volume transactions also. That is very important. That can be the scalability. So because in future the volume or the value of transactions can be at the higher level. We never know, right? So every time we are not going to develop a new system for any customer, you know. Whenever the solution we have provided now, we must provide a possibility in such a way where they must be able in a position to add few things to the existing one. That should be the scalability. That should be the focus behind doing all that. So scalability is also one of the key things. Next, about the compliance part, right? So we must adhere to all the GDPR standards, compliances, right? So these are the non-functional requirements one should be identified. So from an architect point of view, when we are developing it, non-functional requirements are the key important things that has to be identified here. Understood? Got it done.
Yeah, but what about this tech stack? Who it will be done by the
Technical stack
technical
will be
architect?
decided in the beginning. In the beginning, whenever we got the business requirements, that time only we decide what should be the technical stack. Because I have given an example from the Java perspective. Okay, Java technical
Yeah.
stack.
Yeah, we means who? Is it solution architect or
No, no,
technical architect?
technical team. I don't say only as alone technical architect. Even development team will also be involved in deciding all that. This is
Okay.
part of software requirement because sometimes I'll tell you this reason behind. Of course, sometimes what happen, there will be three conditions. I'll tell you the reason behind that. Because technical stack decision should be taken by all the people alone, all the people once at a time, right? So why the reason behind, I'll tell you. Solution architect, as a role, we will be playing an important role in taking the decision, but not alone. Three different scenarios I'll tell you. For example, sometimes customer have a legacy system. Now they wants to transform to the new system. So technical stack should be something completely different. So the technical legacy system, whatever they were maintaining, the infrastructure, whatever is there, is completely comparably when you are going with a new system, the infrastructure is completely different. So you have to convince your customer to maintain that infrastructure, to invest that infrastructure to your place. Either it can be on-premise or cloud. It's a different story, right? So this can be one scenario. Second scenario, sometimes customer has a system. Now customer want to make some changes on the existing one. There can be a scalability issue because the systems are using by them in olden days they were using. So making changes on the existing thing by adding few things can be a problem. This can be a second scenario. Third scenario, they already have the on-premise version. Now they are moving towards cloud version. This can be the third scenario. Or they want you to develop an application from the scratch. Consider that there is no system as such for them. Now they want you to develop the application from zero. So technical stack, decision on the technical stack, what is that we have taken a decision depends on the type of project that will be that we are going to develop. That is point number one. Second, what is the timelines that we have will be taken into consideration. Budget will be taken into consideration. Fourth point about the feasibility. How feasible this technology to be used now as well as in future, that is to be addressed. So technical stack decision will be taken by the technical team. It can be architect teams will be involved in. It's not only a solution architect. It can be systems architect will be involved in. It can be a software architect. Those people will be involved in. If it's a cloud application, cloud architect roles will be involved even senior programming side or development side, whoever are there, right? So those people will be involved in, and program management team will be involved at the higher level. So these people will be involved in coming up with the technical stack of the particular project, not by solution architect alone. Understood now, right?
Yeah.
Did you understand this? Right. So not by alone, because decision as a solution architect, what is the right technical stack that we take the decision. It's always there. It's always there. But end of the day, what is to be designed that has to be identified here for sure. So this high level design, when you want to develop a high level design, make sure you must be having a technical stack also with us. So which will be decided at that level. But that is based on the non-functional requirements. Just give me a second.
Okay.
But this technical stack implementation based on the non-functional requirements. Because based on the non-functional requirements, we'll take the decision on that. Are you clear? Are you clear?
Okay.
Yeah, tell me. Go ahead.
No, why not functional?
Sorry.
Why not we are considering functional requirements when we are going for the technical stack?
Functional requirements are only to implement. Okay. Non-functional
Okay.
requirements will be, why are we taking non-functional requirements? Because, see, for example, You are identifying the processing speed. Okay. In what way the functional requirements are relevant? Non-functional requirements are relevant for a processing speed because processing speed of the system or the capacity of the RAM or whatever the server or whatever it is. So you are taking these based on the non-functional requirements, not on the non-functional requirement, because functional requirement it is nothing to do with performance. What is to
No,
do?
but
Let's say
yeah,
that
but
you are developing an e-commerce application, for example, or you are developing a banking application, or you are developing an insurance management system. Either it can be internal or external application. End of the day, application, what are the required features that are to be enabled, you will be decided. It is nothing to do with technology. But end of the day, what is important here? If it's a e-commerce based application, large number of customers will be using this site. If it's a banking application, let's say internal banking, core banking application used by the financial banking employees within the organization. So the limited access as well as the reachability of the application will be limited. So the technology stack that is decided when you are comparing with internal application to external application varies a lot. Why? Because usage of customers are different, volume of customers accessing this application, how long this can be. If you say core banking, it can be from morning 10 to evening 6 or so, for example. Let's say you're developing some e-commerce based application, it should be a 24 by 7 activity. You never know when the volume of customers are more. So that was the major aspect that is taken into consideration, majorly non-functional. Rather than comparing, I don't say that functional requirements are no way related, but functional requirements are not so majorly important when you are developing the technology stack, more than when you are comparing to the non-functional requirements. You go ahead now. You are asking something. Please go ahead. Yeah.
yeah, that is what indirectly there will be some like the weightage for the functional requirements, which will be impacting the non-functional requirements.
Automatically, because if you
Yeah,
are developing a core, that's what I told you. Let's say that you're developing some insurance management system. Okay. So if you're developing an insurance management system, that approach is different. Okay. That is different. Okay. Insurance management system, that is different. The same way, if you are developing some like online banking structure is different because online banking it should be a 24 by 7 activity. Okay, customer can use that online banking at any from anywhere. If you say core banking may not be, it is only working during the operational hours. So functional requirements will be involved in. But when it comes to the design is concerned, when it comes to the technology stack understanding and identification is concerned, end of the day, performance matters a lot, accuracy matters a lot. So non-functional requirements relate more in that regard. So the reason why repetitively non-functional requirements I'll be mentioning on that note. Understood now? Got it. It doesn't
yeah,
mean that we don't consider non-functional. Functional requirements is to develop the. See, I want a policy management system. I want some policy to be managed when customer has given. Or it can be claims, it can be billing, it can be a banking application where I want to see the transactions, list of transactions. These are all the functional stuff. Okay, that is basic. Okay, but what sort of business that I have, right? So how much length, how much volume of customers am I doing? What is my scale of business? Based on that, what kind of systems that I required will be decided. See, if I am doing, for example, if I have a store, one retail store I have, let me put you this way. I think this example in the beginning days I given, I remember. Again, I'll repeat you. For example, I have only one store, one retail store I have, some retail shop where customers are coming and buying goods. Okay. I don't require any kind of cloud because only one system I have server it is in place. I can maintain my inventory management and billing system. I can manage it. Now consider that in future I'm going to develop almost 4 to 5 stores I want to develop in future. What is needed? I cannot maintain physical infrastructure. What is that I required? I want some kind of cloud system to be developed.
cloud. Yeah,
So when I'm moving towards cloud, the technology stack will be different when you are comparing to the when you're comparing to the on-premise stack. Did you understand? Got it? You're clear.
Yeah. Yeah.
So maintaining one store, I don't require much multiple. Okay. 1 minute. I don't require multiple. But whereas when it comes to the this thing is concerned, when it comes to the multiple stores in future I want to operate, so I cannot operate in on-premise because 4 stores, I'm total 5 stores I have to maintain servers for 5 stores. So if I want to see any reports online, right? So which store is performing well and all on-premise, it's difficult because I have to depend on someone to generate those reports and to provide you. Sometimes I don't know where the stock position is less and high. I don't know everything, being a business owner. So what is that I want? I want some kind of cloud solution which is the right choice. So that infrastructure cost will be reduced for me in terms of investment. In terms of operational cost will also be reduced for me. These are the reasons behind I am going for cloud environment. Why? Because my operational scalability is increasing. My risk is also increasing. I want to reduce the risk in terms of the day-to-day operations. I want to focus on the business model and business excellence. I want to focus. So what will you suggest me? You suggest me, then you just go for cloud. This is how generally you will be suggesting, right? As a technical people, right? So this is how generally. So the reason why NFR is the major area where I repetitively I focusing. Doesn't mean non-functional. It's not. Understood now? Got it? Okay.
Yeah.
Any questions?
No.
Right. So this is it. So you please decide based on this which one is something okay for you. Okay, between these two, okay? You can decide any one.